Good morning. Moment of truth.
This is a very big moment for our country. Honestly, nobody knows who to believe.
The Senate showdown between Brett Kavanaugh and accuser Dr. Christine Blasey Ford just a few short hours away.
These allegations are absolutely breathtaking.
But this is getting into the twilight zone.
Overnight, two men coming forward claiming it could have been them and not Kavanaugh involved in the alleged incident in question. The country, the president, eager to see how it all plays out.
It's possible I'll hear that and I'll say, hey, I'm changing my mind.
With Kavanaugh's nomination and the future of the high court hanging in the balance. Today, Thursday, September 27th, 2018.
From NBC News, this is a special edition of Today, the Kavanaugh hearing with Savannah Guthrie and Hoda Kotb, live from Studio 1A in Rockefeller Plaza.
And welcome to Today. Thank you for joining us on this Thursday morning.
And this is a morning that will be recorded in the history books. It's hard to overstate the importance of this moment and what is about to unfold in this room on Capitol Hill. We want to walk you through exactly how this day is expected to play out.
Yeah, the hearing with Brett Kavanaugh and his first accuser, Dr. Christine Blasey Ford, is expected to begin at 10 a.m. Eastern. She will go first, beginning with her opening statement.
That will then be followed by one 5-minute round of questions from each senator, and it'll alternate between Republicans and Democrats. But remember, the 11 Republicans on the committee have brought in a woman named Rachel Mitchell. She's a veteran prosecutor with decades of experience with sex crimes, and she will do their questioning.
Once Dr. Ford's questioning is through, the process will repeat with Judge Kavanaugh. What is unclear is whether Republicans will question him themselves or let Mitchell handle those two.
Well, coming up, we're going to hear from both sides of this, including one of Dr. Ford's friends and former high school classmates. Plus, White House Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders is with us in our studio live. But first, to our team of correspondents fanned out across Washington. We start with Craig Melvin leading us off this morning. Craig, good morning.
Savannah, good morning to you from the U.S. Capitol, where in less than 3 hours, Americans will witness a dramatic and nearly unprecedented event. Judge Brett Kavanaugh and Professor Christine Blasey Ford, the first woman to publicly accuse him of sexual misconduct in the early 1980s when they were both in high school, will tell their stories and take questions. It is a hearing that will likely determine the fate of President Trump's Supreme Court nominee. Meanwhile, this morning, for the first time, we are hearing from another woman who's making explosive allegations about Kavanaugh, which he adamantly denies. This morning, a supreme showdown on Capitol Hill with Judge Brett Kavanaugh and his accuser, Christine Blasey Ford, taking center stage in separate appearances before the Senate Judiciary Committee. Ford set to publicly testify that Kavanaugh sexually assaulted her at a party in the 1980s when both were in high school. But in a timeline of allegations against Kavanaugh released by Senator Chuck Grassley's office last night, two men came forward just this week to say they believe they, quote, had the encounter with Ford in 1982, not Kavanaugh. President Trump standing by his embattled nominee.
You have a man who's very outstanding, but he's got very strong charges against him. Probably charges that nobody's going to be able to prove.
But the president admitting to NBC's Hallie Jackson, if Ford's testimony is convincing, it could change his mind about Kavanaugh.
I can always be convinced. I have to hear it.
It sounds like what you're saying is there is a situation, there is a scenario under which you would withdraw Brett Kavanaugh's nomination. Is that correct?
If I thought he was guilty of something like this, yeah, sure.
Mr. Trump also acknowledging his own experiences with multiple women accusing him of sexual assault have influenced his thinking on Kavanaugh.
Well, it does impact my opinion. You know why? Because I've had a lot of false charges made against me. I'm a very famous person, unfortunately.
Kavanaugh, in his prepared remarks, again denying Ford's allegations, saying, quote, in retrospect, I said and did things in high school that make me cringe now. What I have been accused of is far more serious than juvenile misbehavior. I never did anything remotely resembling what Dr. Ford describes. The 11 male Republicans on the Judiciary Committee hiring veteran sex crimes prosecutor Rachel Mitchell to handle questioning on their behalf. Democratic senators will likely press Kavanaugh on his drinking habits after he told Fox News he's never been blackout drunk casting himself as a dedicated student and athlete.
I was focused on trying to be #1 in my class and being captain of the varsity basketball team and doing my service projects, going to church.
Kavanaugh facing a new accusation this morning from Julie Swetnick, releasing a sworn statement through her lawyer, Michael Avenatti. Swetnick alleging she witnessed Kavanaugh and his friend fondling and grabbing girls without their consent at a series of house parties in the 1980s. Swetnick saying in approximately 1982, she was the victim of a gang rape. She did not directly accuse Kavanaugh of being involved in her alleged rape, but she says he was present and that she believes she had been drugged. NBC News has not independently corroborated her accusations. Kavanaugh responding, "I don't know who this is, and this never happened." This morning, the Showtime cable network show The Circus releasing an exclusive clip of their interview with Swetnick.
It wasn't that I wanted to come out one day before the hearings, that just circumstances brought it out that way. This is something that occurred a long time ago, and it's not that I just thought about it. It's been on my mind ever since the occurrence.
Of the things that are in your sworn statement, are there particular things you regard as disqualifying for a Supreme Court nominee?
I think all of the above. I mean, that's not the type of behavior that anybody at any age should do. I don't think women should be treated that way, and I don't think that any human being should treat people that way.
But this is getting into the twilight zone. You're talking about Brett Kavanaugh being a serial rapist during high school, as a sophomore in high school.
So I spoke with Swetnick's attorney, Michael Avenatti, on Wednesday, and I asked him why they would wait just hours before this morning's hearing to reveal these details about her allegations. He told me that he approached the Senate Judiciary Committee over the weekend, but he did not hear back from them. He also said that his client is willing to testify publicly. Meanwhile, Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell insists that the full Senate vote to confirm Judge Kavanaugh will happen tomorrow morning behind me.
All right, Craig Melvin on Capitol Hill. Thanks, Craig.
We are also getting our first look this morning at the testimony that Dr. Christine Blasey Ford is prepared to give to the Senate Judiciary Committee today. NBC's chief White House correspondent Hallie Jackson on the Hill in position, and she's got that part of the story. Hallie, good morning.
Hi, Savannah. Good morning to you. Dr. Ford is expected to tell senators and the world that she is a reluctant witness, someone who initially did not want to come forward and is now struggling with, in her words, a terrible choice between staying private and sharing her story publicly. Based on her prepared remarks, Dr. Ford is ready to tell this committee that she's not here today because she wants to be. In fact, she says she's terrified, but because she believes it's her civic duty.